10 years ago, a little video game came out that made us all feel good. It was Ghostbusters, the video game, and I played it on the Xbox 360. It was out there for the PlayStation 3. There was a Windows version. I don't know if it was the 10-year anniversary or the upcoming movie, which is coming out in 2020, but for whatever reason, Columbia Pictures and Sony, which owns Columbia, and Terminal Reality, and I don't even know who published this new version of it, but they've decided to say, let's get this out there and remaster the game for modern systems. And I think it was kind of a brilliant idea because Ghostbusters, the video game, it was written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis and some other people as well, but the key creative sort of heart of the original Ghostbusters movies, 1 and 2, was a part of this movie. They were able to get this game. They were able to get, thank you, Blake, a part of this game. They were able to get Bill Murray. They were able to get Harold Ramis in the booth and Dan Aykroyd in the booth and Ernie Hudson and other sort of supporting actors and characters that you know and love from the series are also in the video game. And honestly, the game is worth that alone. It's worth playing just for that. I was thinking about that in terms of the cost for it because it's a lower price game. Of course, it's a remaster. If you've got the classic versions of the game, you might be able to run it on current systems as well. If it's sitting in your Steam library, I'm sure you could play the old version if you wanted to. But the remaster is kind of a way to celebrate the Ghostbusters mythology for people that missed out on it last time. But I was thinking, the cost of it is not much more than if you wanted to buy a 4K release of the original Ghostbusters 1 or 2. Most of us have seen those movies a million times, and we probably don't need to have the latest revision of the movie in our library. But this game acts as a de facto sequel to Ghostbusters 2. And it takes place in that same era, in that same time period. All the actors are younger versions of themselves. And Harold Ramis, as we know, has passed away since this game came out. So it's kind of a way to honor him and his legacy and his work. And in fact, the game starts off with dedicated to Harold Ramis and rest in peace, which I thought was lovely. The music is also sensational in this game, and it really kind of evokes the movie versions of Ghostbusters in some wonderful ways. So in addition to all of that great voice cast, you get this pretty fantastic soundscape that takes you right back into the movies. Now, visually, it's kind of a mixed bag because the assets that were crafted for the original game look like they've just been tweaked and polished and made into 4K. This isn't like Shadow of the Colossus remaster that they did for PS4 last year. Was it last year, Shadow of the Colossus? It wasn't too long ago, but that was incredible. That was I think that's the state of the art that was kind of like a remake. This isn't a remake. It's like they shined up some of those old textures and some of those old graphics. It looks pretty good. Then they go into the cut sequences, and those look pretty dated, and the animations look pretty dated. But in addition to beefed up polygonal models and some tuned textures and stuff, we also get a lot of really beautiful lighting in this game because, of course, this is all about the proton packs and all the beams that the Ghostbusters were shooting, trying not to cross the streams. You're updating the proton pack with different abilities, so you'll get a slime ability, or they're basically variants on shotguns and rocket launchers and stuff, but in the Ghostbusters kind of motif. So when your key thing is to blast at ghosts with the proton beam or whatever they call that, and it's the way that you shoot them and hurt them and then eventually capture them and stick them into the traps. But you can also switch to these other variants, and it just lights up the room, and it lights up the screen, and it makes you feel like you're in the movie. They've done a really solid job of sort of conveying all that. I think some of the levels get a little long in the tooth, and we do a lot of the same kinds of things over and over again. I feel like the animations of the characters definitely could have been tweaked and improved. I mean, I think this is a candidate to kind of go into the source of the code and the assets and tune and tweak, use all that original voice recording, and do a whole kind of remake kind of thing. There's enough good elements in there to kind of reimagine everything, but it worked back in 2009. I had a very good time playing this game, and it still works in 2019. I do recall the multiplayer being fun back then. I think you can still play the multiplayer on the original Xbox 360 release, I think. I didn't try, but I think they've still sort of kept up some kind of functionality that way. But the developers for this game have stated that they're probably going to patch. I don't know. I hate saying this until the stuff is real, but there may be multiplayer patched in later into this game. And when you play a Ghostbusters game, you kind of want to enjoy that with other Ghostbuster fans out there, and there are many of us. And I think that's really the core of it, right? Like, if you love Ghostbusters and you've got these modern systems and you want to find a way to kind of appreciate it with the original cast, this is a damn good time. You don't play as any one of the characters, you play as a new recruit, but it gives you the license to kind of stand around and watch all of these consummate professionals, these comedians, quip and riff on stuff, and it's great. It's a little stilted. It's not quite as natural, and the easy flow isn't quite as solidly there as it is when you watch the films. But it's pretty damn impressive for it to be a video game script, and you do have a lot of extra little bits and stuff too. Lots of lore. You can go up and talk to, characters that from the world. There's a lot of little cameos that pop in, especially in the Ghostbusters Firehouse. I quite enjoy this game, and I think if you're a Ghostbusters fan, this is a no-brainer. You should pick this up, or if you already own it, you should go back and play it, because it's kind of a buried treasure. I'm going to give the modern Ghostbusters Remastered a 7.5 out of 10.